Well, here we are, everybody. We are starting a new 1 week club. That is correct. And of course, it was VIXX. And this is all on you. You all have a lot of responsibility that now I'm kidding. But we're doing VIXX. And obviously, we always start out with the debut stage, whether this ends up on Patreon or not. Anyway, we're going to see how they stack up. If you're new here, my name is Aaron. I help you to try to love the music that you already like. And if I'm being honest, this is one of the more interesting ones because we always do debuts a little bit different. We grade them on where they're at, not where they are now. So we'll give them a proper run and see where we're at. Okay, let's do this.
I wanna win this race. Value VIXX says brand new boys on the building. Yes sir, so we gotta make you look in there.
VIXX, 널 위한 hero. VIXX, 빛으로 나의 힘 보여줄게 like a star.
You know who's popular? Not bad. That was smooth. Okay. Definitely alive.
내 품에 두근두근 뛰는 심장소리를 느껴봐. 신비로운 나의 힘은 오직 너를 위한 것이란 걸. Check it out, you're fantastic world. Yeah. 달려와 달려가 어디 가든 날 따라와. 위경과 박춤을 넘어서 우리들의 넘치는 자신.
This is gonna be tough.
우린 다 가능해 가는 위한 대체 랄랄랄랄랄 컴컴컴컴컴 하면 내 손을 잡아.
Wow. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. That was pretty good. Okay, well, let's discuss a little bit about what we saw here. Okay, so here we are. We're going to be talking about VIXX and their debut. Usually, it's a scale, F being the bottom tier, and then C, B, A, and S tier. I don't need the entire freaking alphabet for that. Where do we put them? They're very good. And the thing that I like is that there's a little bit of that old school, raw, unpolished feel. I kind of do dig that. The vocals were very stable, and I think some of the dance and choreography was actually fairly, I would say, smooth. Like this part right here was very smooth. Very smooth. Yeah, I mean, like, and the truth is that this is kind of the beautiful thing because we're not basing them on where they are now, we're basing it on them then. And the vocals are good. Obviously, you can kind of tell that there's going to be obvious growth. And I mean, we've from the few songs that we've heard on the channel, you know that they've very much had that kind of glow up. And I am always a sink or swim kind of person, so hearing live vocals is very cool. The one thing that I also will say that I think is always one that I always like to point out is the title track that they use in order to debut. The song Superhero is a very solid, I think, debut song. Not bad, see? That's what I'm saying. So, you know, and also, too, I feel like I've gotten a little bit more jaded as, you know, I shouldn't say jaded, I should say, maybe just less forgiving. That's a good way of putting it. So, but even still, I feel rather impressed. We know who the popular members are of the group. I do feel like that at this point they are better dancers than they are singers. I'm really struggling what to give them. My first thought was originally like B+. Hard soft A, or hard soft. Soft A? Hard B+? That's tough. I feel like that they're really good live though. That's the big thing. Like, even though it's unpolished and, you know, it's not like the craziest thing you've ever heard, but there's still just a lot of quality here. Okay, I've been thinking about this now, and I have come to the decision. I think I got to give them, on a scale of F, D, C, B, A, and then S is for shiny. I actually think I got to go with A-. I think they're good. And I think that, like I said, at this point, I think that they were better dancers than they were vocalists. And that's not a bad thing. I think that the debut song was really strong. I do. And aside from that, I think that the choreography was very nice. I think it was very well utilized on such a small stage. I think that they just really showed a lot of really good and meaningful potential, and obviously the growth on them should be insane. And with that being said, I think I would give them like a hard A-, maybe even into a soft A. That's my personal opinion. I think it's very good though. So look at that. We're already in this one day and we're already getting a subunit. We are in for an interesting week for sure. So this is, I believe, called Memory by Robbie and I'm always so bad with names. Hyuk? I don't know. Let me know in the, because I'd imagine it'd be like Minhyuk, right? Or like, yeah, I think that's right. Hyuk. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be doing Memory before I start trying to go on too long and make too much of a fool of myself. Let's check it out. VIXX. Okay. Pre light stick era, I think. That's crazy.
I need memories.
희미해져가는 나를 사랑하던 네 모습 보이지 않는 얼굴 잊혀져가는 사랑
Nice.
두 뺨 위로 흐르던 눈물들을 너무서 싹다
Ooh.
메말랐어 메말라가던 체중은 보란듯이 너와 있던 때와 같아졌고 이제는 길이 또 거르지를 않고 굵은 눈물 한 방울 없이도 난 편히 잠에 들 수 있어졌어 그래가 아니 가지마 미쳐서 이별을 반복하던 날 안타까운 눈빛으로 바라보던 너를 절대 잊을 수 없다 절대로 잊을 수 없다 절대로 잊을 수 없다고 착각했던 난 이제 네 얼굴조차도 기억 안 나
Bye 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 붙잡으려 해봐도 쉽게 잡히질 않아서 나도 몰래 잊었나봐 Baby bye 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 이제 눈물조차 안 나 너의 눈빛과 손길 모든 것이 다 잊혀져가는가 봐
너와 함께 갔던 장소와 먹던 음식 했던 대화는 하얗게 지워져서는 새파랗게 멍들었던 이유도 이전에 널 씻어내고 지워내려던 헛된 노력하던 그때가 그리워졌어 그날들의 상처가 지금은 그리워졌어 Why? 난 다시 너 때문에 다치고 싶어 나는 다시 너 때문에 아파서 눈물을 흘리고 싶어 눈물을 흘리고 싶어 눈물을 흘리고 싶어 또 이제 덤덤해져버린 심장엔 흘린 눈물이 없어졌어
잡으려 해봐도 쉽게 잡히질 않아서 나도 몰래 잊었나봐 Baby bye 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 이제 눈물조차 안 나 너의 눈빛과 손길 모든 것을 다 잊혀져가는가 봐
Yeah, 내 memory
Yeah, 네 memory
Yeah, 내 memory
Yeah, 네 memory
Yeah, 내 memory 너와 웃고 울던 과거들 Yeah, 내 memory 나를
I'm so
바라보는
entranced.
네 얼굴을 이대로 잊을 순 없어 잊어버리기에 너무나 사랑했던 너를 그런 너를 쉽게 떠나보낼 순 없어 차라리 다시 과거로 돌아가서 떠나가는 너를 보며 안고 널 사랑한다
Ooh,
외치고
yeah.
정신을 뿌리치며 운명을 뒤집어버릴 걸 이대로는 못 보내 절대로 안 보내 널 잃어도 널 잊는 건 못해 영원하게 가슴만이 널 잃어 널 사랑할게 난
Wow.
내 옆에 넌 없어도 과거의 너를 떠올려 다시 사랑할 거야 널 Baby bye 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 다시 눈물을 흘려도 너의 눈빛과 손길 모든 것을 다 떠올리며 울 거야
Yeah, 내 memory
Yeah, 네 memory
Yeah, 내 memory
Yeah, 네 memory
Wow. That was sick. Wow. Okay. The thing that I think there is always, and I've talked about this maybe a few times, but like when you're doing a song like this and you have a rap in a song like this, you have to be so careful because you have two things that kind of that happen. Either one, it's just incredibly cheesy and it just does not stick. Two, the other thing is kind of the opposite where it's like almost too real and like almost too oppressive and like brings down the vocals because it's just so heavy. You got to ride that line. And I think that's what happened here. I think that he rode that line very nicely. And honestly, too, though, I love the fact that it was not heavy, but it was dramatic. And, I feel like that when you're writing a song like this, you really want to have that really kind of dramatic feel to it. But again, that is another line that you have to ride. You have to ride the dramatic line to the point where it's relatable, not cheesy. And again, I think you could kind of say they kind of nailed that, though, to be honest. Like, they're right there, especially here at the very end. I think that this is a great section.
이제 넌 쫓아 너의 눈빛과 손길 모든 것을 다 잊혀져가는가 봐.
Yeah, 네 memory.
Yeah, 네 memory.
Yeah, 네 memory.
Yeah, 네 memory.
Yeah, 네 memory. 너와 웃고 울던 과거들. Yeah, 네 memory. 나를 바라보던 네 얼굴을 이대로 잊을 순 없어. 잊어버리기에 너무나 사랑했던 너를, 그런 너를 쉽게.
And you'll notice just like a quick tension right here, and it just really amps the, like, brings it all up.
떠나보낼 수
Ups the ante.
과거로 돌아가서 떠나가는 너를 보며 안고 널 사랑한다 외치고 현실을 부딪히며.
See, it feels real. It feels impactful. And the one thing that I also think that is a nice thing that they do here, I think sometimes people will lose this plot. And I'm not going to name any names, but like there will be times where there'll be like a rap line or like a rapper performing next to a vocalist, and it feels like they're in just two separate worlds. And I think that that actually could have happened. Could have. But you know what? The fact that there's this section here where they both are singing part of the song together really just ties it all together. And it ties up all the loose ends that I probably think would have been there. But that was actually a very solid choice.
빛과 손길 모든 것을 다 잊혀져가는가 봐.
Yeah, 네 memory.
Yeah, 네 memory.
Yeah, 네 memory.
Yeah, 네 memory.
Yeah, 네 memory. 너와 웃고 울던 과거들. Yeah.
And another thing I love too is when it chooses where and when to like slow it down and bring it kind of to a little bit more of a softer touch rather than just being like that big bold dramatic feel. There's also times where it feels a little more withdrawn. It feels like it's just like a conversation in his own brain, and that it was very cool. So this song, oh yeah, already a favorite. Very, very cool. Anyway, should we move on? I think we should move on. I decided to do a little bit of shifting on the list, mainly because I found out that there's 3 songs that form the Greek like storyline or something like that, and the way that it was laid out, it would not have actually lined up where all 3 of those are together. So I kind of notched them down just by a song. So that's why we're doing The Scientist, so that we can actually make sure that the Greek section is completely all in accordance. So anyway, that means we're moving on to Scientist. So very cool. Fan chants. Okay. Wow. Very unique. 색과 형체가 선명한 듯 하지만 가시적이지 않은 형태 속 갇혀버린 나의 세계 Oh yeah yeah 절제가 없는 품속에 가득히 담겨져 Oh yeah 난 찾아왔어 가장 최초의 향기를 꼼짝 못하게 묶어버리는 꼭 너 같은 자극이 This is very unique.
세워보내
날카로운 패턴 벚꽃을 감은 natural 까만한 내넌 찰나의 코끝을 건드리고 깊은 향을 건네 You already know 불안하는 색관이 자극을 빈도투 떨어뜨리는 내 이성의 끈권이 벽 같은
I love that intensity. Wow. Okay, this is actually pretty cool because honestly, in a lot of ways, again, this feels something very recently where a lot of groups are participating in like a certain genre and one that's like generally very ironclad in like how you have to do it. But a lot of groups recently have absolutely been just subverting expectations and in the best way possible too. Because again, that's something that can be easily messed up. Easily messed up. But like, wow. Because like, I was expecting a typical drop. I was expecting the big build up, and then either you get something either super crazy or it goes super relaxed. You know, it's always one of those two. Either it's extra energy or low key, and we don't really get either of those, do we? Build up. Instead, it's more just like, no, we're gonna just keep going and just absolutely replace the energy and kind of goes back to where it was. And that was a very smooth transition. Using it as a transitional piece like that, that's cool. Also, the choreography in this is actually really crazy. I really appreciate going from the flowiness to like the intensity. They really just are able to encapsulate a lot of the feelings of the song and the way that it's written into the dance. They're very good storytellers. So cool to see him shift between like that just really soft to aggressive. It's such a, again, kind of a dramatic way of going about things. And I think the thing that's really interesting is by doing so, it kind of keeps your attention because like you're just almost like you can't blink. Otherwise, it's going to just completely go over your head. You're going to miss something. And I find actually super interesting about this, if I'm being real too, I really appreciate the fact that when they are getting into this dramatic role, that it's able to feel realistic. I especially really like this little piece right here in the choreography that just shows the kind of the shift into the intensity. And then shifts right back. And by the way, his eyes are very captivating. I love that because this is what encapsulates what I was saying. Like that quick shift, that ability. It's almost like it's like an animal going all stealthy mode and then waiting to, pounce. That's really cool. This has been a very good first day. Holy cow. I'm definitely invested in this. This is really cool. I was a little worried. Honestly, I had actually had thoughts about doing a VIXX 1 week club for Halloween because everybody's like, well, why do you associate him with Halloween? Because the first song that I ever heard from him was Voodoo Doll, and the music video was like super crazy, and like all these other songs that have all these kind of crazier, darker concepts that were kind of generally terrifying. But I was worried because at one point this is on me. This is on me, and I completely understand it's stupid. I was under the impression that they really did not have enough content for a 1 week club. So that's why I actually kept putting it off. And I remember seeing people being like, oh, I really would like to see VIXX 1 week club. And I'm like, and I don't know why, but like in my mind, I'm like, they only had like, what, like 10 songs, 12 songs? Like they weren't around that long. But then people are like, no, it's about the same as ATs. And I was like, well, if you want it, let's try it out. So that's how all this came to be. Been a very good first day, though. I am very much impressed. So let me know what y'all think. We'll discuss this down in the comments below. Thank you and goodbye.